After owning my last BMW, I said I would never buy another one. And technically, I have not bought another one. This E30 325i convertible is not my car. It is a car I'm doing for a friend, and we're gonna walk through this build as kind of a DIY restoration, starting from the inside and working our way out. I think it's gonna be a 3-part series, maybe 4 if I break up the body kit and the wheels and tires and all of the suspension and stuff into 2 videos. I haven't decided yet. But 3 to 4 parts, very short, but kind of just to show you guys the way I like to restore these old cars and the things that I think make the biggest impact on just your general enjoyment of the car and how the car presents, how it feels on a day-to-day basis. This is going to be a daily driver, and so we're doing a lot of daily driver things, but it's things that I think will really help you, and I'm going to show you some tricks and tips that I've learned over the years that will help you if you're doing any of these things. Today, though, it is seats. So we're going to start by pulling these things out, and this was a lot simpler than I expected. Back seats are almost always very simple. Lift up on the front, it'll unhook, you can pull that out, and then there's 1 or 2 bolts holding the back seat in place, and it's the same way with the BMW. The front seats, also surprisingly simple. 4 bolts on the front and rear of both seats, unbolt them, and they just pull right out. Oh, and we are on to this, the Recaro Sports Seat. Adjustable to the max, adjustable headrest, adjustable thigh support, adjustable back. You've got a fold-up function for people to get in the back seat. You've got tilt. You got everything. But you also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 individual pieces to wrap, and it has to be completely torn down to do that. So normally in a bucket seat like this, you might pull the back off or take the 2 halves apart, re-stretch the material, put everything back together. It's maybe an hour or 2 job. The last one of these I did, I think took me about 6 hours total, which is insane. This one won't be as long, but I did run into some seized parts on the last one, and so I'm really just hoping that we don't hit that same problem here. Yeah, because it'll be frustrating. So let's do this. I haven't found any tutorials online of taking this apart that were concise and clear. And then I haven't found any putting it back together and recovering all it. So this is gonna be all of that. I'm gonna try to do it in just a few minutes. All right, the first step, flip the seat over. Use the fold forward latch. And there's 2 screws underneath right here. And right here, I've got one maybe missing, or did it poke through? Poke through. Those are out. Those are the only fasteners for the seat back. And then we'll rotate the seat back around, pull this off. It's just pressure fit. You may need to use your prying tool. And then this is also just a pressure fit piece. So pop that off there, pop that off as well. Take all of your pieces, there's gonna be a lot, and put them together. Now, if it's a passenger seat, you may have a slider on both sides. Same thing. Pry off the lever, pry off the cover, and then this lifts off of the seat. We can just force it around. There we go. Ooh, that was nerve-wracking. For those removed, there's normally a cover right here that looks, I think it goes like this actually, about like that. There's a flathead plastic screw here. Undo that. Pull the cover off, set that with all your other stuff. And then you have this. This is your lever that is connected to these. So we're gonna undo that. 2 things need to happen. First, you have to grab this little, ouch. Grab this little tab and pull it up. That will allow this to slide forward and off. Then the part that I hate is this little plastic clip retains that, and there is a small tab here that I can't even show you on camera. It looks just like this though, just like this piece on the other side. And you gotta get something very small in there. It is possible to do without breaking, though I've only done it, well, I've done it twice without breaking and once with breaking, so. Well, twice with breaking and twice without breaking. I think it'll be okay, even if you break it, which is likely because of how old it is. You probably just want to use some glue or something to hold that, because it's just a retainer to protect that cable. Next up, we have 2 screws, one right there, it's gold, and there's one, it's there, they just, I guess, forgot to cut the hole. Screwdriver here, here. Put those screws in your pile of stuff. Pulls loosen and those 2 screws out. This should pop off. Just gonna lift straight up. There we go. All right, next up, flip the seat on its side. This process is the same on both sides. I'm gonna show you both sides anyway because things can go wrong. First, you're gonna take off this 17. On one side, it'll be the seat belt. On the other side, it'll just be holding nothing, basically. Now that is free. Next is kind of gets weird. We're gonna start by taking a flathead and we're gonna pry up on this thing. There it goes. And put that with your pile of stuff. Okay, next we have a snap ring here. Now you can use snap ring pliers here. I have some, but they're not here. They're at the other shop. And so I'm going to just take this guy. All right, with the snap ring off, I don't think I got that on video, but I'll do it on the next side. So you can see there's a black pin and then a lever. You're gonna take some pliers, grab the lever and squeeze it. See how it moves? When it's squeezed, now this thing should rotate, but it's not. And that's because we're still on this square peg for the seat belt. Most of this stuff has been on here for a very long time. All right, and then this hopefully will rotate easily. So now that rotates to there. All right, cross your fingers, say a prayer. Lord, please let this come off. And pull the hinge off. Ah, thank goodness. Yes, that's good. That's a win. All right, now we're gonna flip the seat over. Oh, and this is the same thing. Watch it again, trust me. It's very intimidating to look at. There's not that much going on here. You can do this. We're gonna pop this guy off, put him with our stuff. Just like that. Put that with our stuff as well. Pop off this little cover. That's what we have instead of a seat belt on this side. That goes with our pile of stuff. 17 mil. Big washer on this side. Put that in your pile of stuff. And then we're going to pry this off. Now your seat base or your seat slider can kind of rotate away. We're going to grab our lever with the pliers, squeeze it in, and rotate. There we go. Rotate it all the way. Just right there. Cross your fingers, say a prayer. Lord, help this hinge come off. Ah! Now let's see. Yes, this one is just like the other one. So if you'll notice, this bushing, not moving. Now the last time this happened, I tried everything. I used a puller, I used a punch, I tried to cut it loose, break it loose, whatever. It did not work. It was rusted on. Maybe the puller. Maybe the puller will work. My buddy Justin B gave me these, a set of these. And I tell you what, I used to rent these all the time. And having them was great. I want to hear it pop loose. It does look like it does look like it's coming up, so that's good. Just keep on going, I guess. A little scared. Okay. That's about as much force as I can put on it. Let's see if we can get it to spin some more. What I would like to see is the bushing spin. That's what I want to see. Sure. That. Oh! Ah! Ha! Ha! think I got it. Here we go. Oh yeah, that is definitely the problem. Inside of there, that looks really bad. So I'll hit this with some sandpaper. I'll hit that with some sandpaper, and then we'll anti-seize them, and we shouldn't have that problem ever again. I haven't found that anywhere else on the internet. So if you're doing this at home and you run into that problem, there you go, there's your solution. Next up is this whole assembly here. This is a press fit, just like the hinge. The last one I did was seized. It is supposed to pop off, but it's gonna take some work. All right, there's that, lots of prying. It gets corroded on just like everything else on this seat. Put it with the parts pile. Okay, so you may have a pin here, neither of mine did. And then you've got one back here that stays there. This slides forward, comes off, and goes with the rest of your parts. Next up is this handle. This is a T25. Pull that out, put it with your stuff. Another one of those things the internet doesn't tell you about is these should pull off, but it's likely seized on like everything else on this side of the chair. You are going to ruin this paint, so if it makes you feel bad to ruin paint, just give it a couple of hits, go ahead and get it started. And you're just going to have to kind of do some of this. A little bit of that. Again, you're going to ruin this paint, so it's okay. Ruin it. You can paint it back. It's just like flat black or something. That's off. Put it with your stuff. All right, we're almost done with this assembly. It was much easier the second time around. The last thing that I'm going to take off, it may be optional, but I'm not sure, is the little thigh support thing. All right, so we're gonna zoom in down here. On here, there's this little speed clip. Rotate it down just like that. You should be able to kind of pry it off by sticking the screwdriver through the bottom of it and just wiggling it down. Watch out, it's gonna wanna fly. Okay, and now this pin will push through. Okay, that is the pin that the clip just came off of. Put it with your stuff. Now you should be able to take this and pull it off just like that. All right, the final step is going to be kind of a normal upholstery step, which is to remove all of our hog rings. We've got hog rings here, and we've got some down the sides as well, across the back. So you're just gonna go around and pull all of those. I use angle cutters for this. I just think it's the best because you can cut them if they're stuck, or you can grab them and crank them out if they're not. All right, so here is the seat disassembled. From here, we can recover, which is awesome. Now, you might think this is complicated. It's because it is. The only difference with the upper from the lower is the headrest. Everything else is held together exactly the same. These headrests don't have any sort of button, so you're just gonna give a swift lift and it'll come out. We are ready to recover. This is where it starts getting a little bit more normal. Still not quite all the way normal though. This thigh support has some clips that hold it together, so we'll pop those off. Make sure you put this in the right way. It can go in backwards. So I learned that the hard way. And we'll just kind of fish this into here. Now I'm gonna use this technique basically the entire time. I'll show it to you now. Where I have these tabs, I'm gonna stretch this material. You can see the tab right there. I'm gonna cut right behind it. Whoops, I think I might have just cut myself pretty good. Nope, we're good. We'll cut right behind it, pull that through. I'm cutting behind it, make sure it stays tight. So the weird thing about these is that they are glued and stapled together. There are some hog rings in the center, but everything on the back, very pointy staples. these seat covers have pretty thick foam, so it'll make up for any foam we've lost. And then you'll see under here, again, you have hog rings, a metal rod. All right. We'll flip it over. There's some foam here that kind of wraps around the front, like that. And then this is just going to wrap up in glue. The glue that I'm using is automotive headliner adhesive. I feel like I've already filmed this for you guys, maybe not. Anyway, and we're going to basically run a bead of that stuff around here, around the outside, and we'll hit the foam as well, let it tack, and then once it tacks, we can fold it up over and it'll stick. I'm not gonna use staples, I don't think I need them. The seam wraps around the outside, so what you're looking for, I think I already found it, is the one that matches your side bolster, which is that one. This can go in the bin. What we're gonna do is we're going to put the big side on first, like this. And in order to get it to the right spot, I'll take this, invert it. Again, you can see there's a dark line where the seam was. So we're just gonna follow that line. Pull this thing really, really tight. You can see this is super tight, and that's good. You want it to be. So we've got our two holes right here. Now what you don't want to do is cut them right there, because we actually need this to pull down some more to get these wrinkles out. You see, as I pull it this way, the wrinkles go away. So that tells us this section needs to move down, but we can't because those are in the way. So here is how you deal with that. I'm gonna do the back one first because it's so close to these threads. I know it has to be inside this seam, and I know it has to be lower than this. So I'm gonna come up about halfway, and I'm gonna cut a hole to pull that through. So we're actually gonna come up a little bit to stay away from the threads, and we're going to cut a hole right here. Go. So there's that. We've got this one, same thing here. If I cut the hole right here where you can kind of see this indentation, it's gonna wrinkle here, it'll be wrinkled forever. So we're gonna go about halfway up. We'll cut the hole, and the hole can be a little bit smaller than you actually need it to be because the leather will kind of stretch around it. There we go, it's pretty good. And you can see now when I pull this tight, the wrinkles will go away. And these wrinkles right here that you can see, they'll go away as soon as we kind of cinch everything together. So nerve-wracking part done. Next up, I'm going to hog ring the inside. So we'll flip this over. With these tabs, it'll be the same kind of rule as with the hinges, in that you're gonna wanna pull it past the tab, and then when you can see the tab, you actually wanna cut, right behind the tab, so that when you pull it over, everything's still tight. One of the only differences from the bottom of the seat with the top is you have these holes for the headliner. Now on the new one, the holes are marked in white, so we'll cut those out. But first, we have to get these grommets out. Now they do screw on, they're threaded, but I couldn't get these threads to actually work, so we're just gonna use the pry tool and pry them off. You can see it's just a plastic grommet and a little washer. I think that's threaded, but it may just be ribs to hold it together. We'll install these before putting the new seat cover on. All right, as I'm assembling this, I'm gonna take my headrest and place it through into the receivers on the seat, just to hold this in place. And from there, it's the same as everything else. Stretching over the teeth, hog rings down the center. I've seen, when I was pulling these apart, a lot of these hog rings were on the kind of suspension in the seat. I think that's probably not a great idea. There's these really sturdy bars that run down the outside, that's what I've been tying to. So we've got that centered. We'll flip it over. You'll be able to kind of see what the seat looks like now. Ow, if I can stop poking myself. And really, I mean, they look awesome. Honestly, they look awesome. The final piece of leather. This has been a huge project. Let's see. I'll show you how I do this. First, to take these apart, I just push a screwdriver into the seam and pry out. And you should get it to release. This leather is going to be old, so just rip it. We're starting over anyway. The foam in this headrest, the same as the last one, is really nice. I mean, it's like, it looks brand new. The cool thing is, the headliner like support actually comes out. I thought it smelled bad, but it just smells like foam. And let's get the foam has it's asymmetrical, as you can see. So we've got kind of a long side and a short side. And you're looking at this. You see, long side, short side. So we're just gonna match that. All right, so headrest is in. It's actually pretty easy to do since the metal comes out. You get a little extra space in there. We'll slide this piece back in. Okay, now you have a flat plastic piece here, right here, and then you have like a U-shaped piece here. The U-shape goes into a corresponding valley in the metal frame. So it takes a little bit of stretching, but we will get it there. We may be a little bit rotated backwards based on what I'm seeing here. Just hard to tell. Maybe not. Okay. Okay, there we go. That was tough, but it's in there. I'm not sure that I did it right. Like maybe it's not meant to go in like that. Maybe it's meant to wrap around. I don't know, but I got it there. And I think it looks all right. Got a little wrinkle here, but other than that, I think it's okay. We'll reinstall it. Now with the matching headrest. There we go. I think I'm like hour 3, something like that, in these. And they're still not back together, but I'm a lot closer than I was when I started. So now, what we have to do is go back to the pile of parts that you've been making this entire time and start putting everything back together. I will tell you, they go back together so much easier than they come apart. I'm gonna build out this side first because it has the most things. So we've got our hinge, we've got our lift lever thing right here, and then the knob. All right, so first we're gonna do the press fit handle. I'm using a drill for this, but it's a T25. Okay. So it drops down over the little nub and then slides backwards. And then the press fit handle. Right. So go back on. Push it back down all the way and then rock it back into place. That is where it needs to go. There's a groove right here that has to be showing for the snap ring. I'll put that in just a minute, but first we're going to, ouch, that hurt. Put our seat belt bar back in. Okay. Snap rings in. Now this piece goes in, which is kind of like taps into place. There we go. So that's connected, snap ring's connected. Now we've got to connect our bolt. So we have 2 screws that hold the 2 pieces together, one here and one there. These pieces do tend to break. You can weld them back on. The other one that I have on my other seat is broken, so we will be repairing that. This one on this side lined up perfectly, but not so much on the other side. Little retaining clip. Ouch. That. Put this one in. Push it shut. Go. See if we can do this any better. Got a problem in my hand, so just hope I never have to do that again. Good. Now, back forward. Still works, so that's good news. And the final screws. All right. Man, what a crucible. Now for the true test. Oh, man. That feels good. It is much more comfortable. It's very late right now, probably like 3 a.m. I'm so glad for this, dude. Man, this feels good. It feels very good. Like really, really comfortable. These things hurt my back before putting the new leather in. And I know that because I sat in this seat, this exact seat, while I was doing all the other upholstery. And my back has been hurting so bad from the lack of lower back support. I guess it was just blown out from old leather and just not holding shape, because now I can feel it like supporting my lower back, which is awesome. And the bolsters feel much better too. It's crazy to me that new leather can do that, but it does, and it feels great, and they look great. I did go with a color just called blue instead of navy blue. I got both samples sent to me and looked at them. They were very, very close. This one was a little bit lighter, and I'm glad we did this. I think it's gonna look really good inside the car, and it's gonna show, I think, better as blue than the last one. Kind of looked like almost black when you were looking at it. This will look blue, which I think is gonna look great. Okay, so it's 3 a.m. I can't go put these in the car right now because the darkness. So the next video we'll have a complete interior with the seats and everything bolted in, but I want to get the dashboard and the carpet replaced before we do that.